Hi, so this is my first video that I record, and I want to talk to you about my journey with Parkinson's. What makes my journey so different from other people with Parkinson's? I have had Parkinson's for 15 years. I was diagnosed 10 years ago when I turned 49, and I think I had it 5 years prior to that. I had symptoms, and I didn't know. My symptoms when I started seeing doctors here were my thumb had a tremor on my left hand, and then my left leg had a little wiggle, you might say, when I walked, and thought maybe I was just shivering. And then a lot of things started happening only on my left side of my body: neck issue, shoulder issue, carpal tunnel, and so on. And so that led me to do several tests with a neurologist. And finally, I got a DAT scan, and that determined that I had Parkinson's. Prior to this, she was kind of leading me up to what it could be. I did some investigating and researching, and it was scary. It was scary to think that if I started the medication, it would probably either wear off at some point, or I would just start taking tons of it. So I've never been a medication person, and I was about to enter that cave. But I told my doctor I was not going to take it. I was not going to take the medication right now. So she gave me another medication that usually boosts the actual carbidopa-levodopa, and so I went with that for a while. And but the day I got out of her office after being told I had Parkinson's, she gave me a tissue, gave me a pamphlet, and I was on my own to venture into the abyss of living with Parkinson's. I was kind of still in shock when I got in my car, so I just sat there and cried. And I put on my favorite CD with my favorite song and sang it out loud while I cried, and figured out what was my next step in life. After leaving her office and leaving the parking lot, I went home and went to my library to see if I could find a book and find some sort of research on Parkinson's. And the only book that I found at this library was how to adjust your front door and your home when you have a wheelchair for people with Parkinson's. I was like, you're kidding me. I slammed it shut and I walked out of there. I was like, okay, I gotta take this a different way. This is not where I'm gonna be. And so I went home. I later joined a support group, and I noticed there was only 2 women, myself and another woman, and it was all men at that time. And we all had to talk about, our symptoms and how we're feeling. And it was beneficial in some way, but in another way, it was something that at the end would make me really sad. When I left, I would be crying again because I was going to be like somebody in that group, if not everybody, in some way. But I remember that day, as I heard everybody talk in that circle, I mentally looked at everybody. I mean, I would look at one of the people and I was like, I'm not going to be like him. And then I'm not going to be like him. I'm not going to be like him. I'm not going to be like her. I'm not going to be like... I put that so mentally strong in my soul that I was not going to go there with Parkinson's. And I decided that I was going to not take medication, which is something that I made the choice. And I was convinced that if I did this way, I was going to use a different strategy. After that, I continued to do everything that I was doing, all of my activities, and continued working as well. But it did start affecting me after a few years. And I had to retire eventually because the stress was just getting out of hand. I worked in the restaurant business, and as much as I loved it, having Parkinson's and running a restaurant was not something good. So I have a lot of things that I need to sort out before I continue. So I'm going to stop this video right now and kind of recap everything I want to talk about in the next video. Like I said, this is what worked for me. We're all different, and Parkinson's is different in all of us. And I just want to share what has worked for me. And this is why I think I said at the beginning that I was going to be the first case in Parkinson's different than others. And it's so engraved in my mind. And I just got back from Spain from walking the Camino de Santiago, 200 miles. I went by myself. I got there by myself. I was more worried about getting there than walking. And I'm really proud of myself for doing this. And I think we are all able to do the things that we want to in some way. I'll share a little bit more on my next video. Thank you for listening.